And so I realized, like, I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to be a lawyer. I don't want to do this. I don't want to go in the military. I don't want to be a police officer. I don't want to do this. All of those things I don't want to do. So I came to the conclusion, I'm going to fall into my job.
Hi, and welcome to the Flat Bill Investors Podcast. I'm Josh Siglowski.
And I'm Zach Spencer. Welcome. Today, we are privileged to have one of my favorite people here, somebody who's probably done more for me than he knows he's done, honestly. Well, we'll just jump right into it. We've got Louis Hamner here today, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Louis Hamner. So welcome, first of all.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. So
give us a little bit of tell us who you are. Who is Louis Hamner?
Who I am today, like how I define myself today is I look at myself as a liberator. That's how I consider myself
That's
today.
pretty awesome. Yeah.
I see my work as that. But I started out, I was born in Nashville, Tennessee, grew up in the Midwest.
I did not know that actually about you. That's great.
Yeah. So I was born there, only spent a year there, but that's, I never say that, but I've started saying it recently because that is my origin, right?
It's
just
your
there
story.
For a year. It's the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So grew up in Indiana in the Midwest, out in the middle of nowhere, kind of like Field of Dreams.
How long were you in Indiana?
Until 94. So I was born in 72 until 94.
What part of Indiana?
Central Indiana, so about 50, 60 miles south of Indianapolis.
Oh, cool.
So, but
How appropriate.
I was going to say, I feel like you're leading
In
to
Mooresville, Mooresville, Indiana.
I know where that. Yeah. I know where that is. Yeah.
She's like, which part? Where
Which
were
part? What color was your
my
house?
My mom's from Indiana as well. So,
okay.
and my dad's from Iowa. So
where's she from? What part of Indiana?
Hammond.
Oh, yeah.
Just right on the border, right before
Yeah.
you get into Chicago.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there was a basketball camp, summer camp that was there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Anyway,
I guess. Who's your stuff? I like it.
Indiana roots.
That's right.
Who's your state?
Love it.
that's right.
I didn't know that about you. I think originally met you was through breathwork, which this is a topic that we haven't really talked about on the podcast yet. Is we've been a little more business oriented.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really happy to have kind of a spiritual side brought into this.
Yeah.
Maybe tell us and tell the listeners a little bit, the viewers, kind of your transition from just how did you get to where you're at? Tell me about you.
All right. Well, so I moved out here in 94 and I got into the title business because I got fired from a previous job and I had no place to go. So real estate is a great place to land, right? That's how.
Yeah.
Did you know people here in Utah?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was out here when I was out here. I worked for Fidelity Investments. So the brokerage. Yeah, the brokerage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I worked there. I got a job in title. Was trying to get out of that for a couple of years because I didn't like it because I wanted a prestigious title. Like I wanted to be like FBI or lieutenant colonel or something. Something that was like badass, right?
Okay.
Like something like that. And so I was trying to get out of title because I didn't want to be known as a title guy.
Gotcha.
Awful.
EO didn't do it for you,
no,
huh?
escrow officer was not awesome.
Louis Hamner, escrow officer. It has officer in it.
Yeah. That's a good point. I thought about that. But anyway, but I stayed in it because it was a great living for me. And my alternatives, I actually got an offer to work for the DEA to go do the PT test because I passed everything else. And I said, if you can physically do these things, we'd love to have you. And that was starting over. And I'm just like,
You passed on it because the title wasn't.
Yeah. The title wasn't enough. I'm like,
Still wasn't there.
DEA.
That's all I'm going to have?
So anyway, that was great. So I stayed in title and realized that I'm going to be here. And even though I didn't necessarily like it, I was making more money, but it wasn't like my dream job, Mm-hmm. And I just want to say this because so there's a book called Life's Great Questions or Life's Great Question. And it's by, I think, Tom Roth, the guy that does the Strength Finder.
Okay.
Anyway, that book, I read that book recently. I'm just bringing it up because I read it recently and everything he says about finding out what your career is, like I actually did. Like I read that book and was emotional thinking, I learned all this on my own. If I could have written a book about how I found my career, this is almost how I would have written it in a way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because what I found out was I wanted to get out of that job. And so when I would do closings and sign with people, I would ask them, what do you do for a living? How'd you get that job? I got to get the hell out of here. Kind of like
when the purchase price is real high, you're like, hey, what do you do?
That's right. Well, and plus this was during 07, all that. I'm like, dude, how do you make $200,000 a year? But stated loans were in play.
For sure.
But my point was, I'm like,
that's
right. And so I'm looking at this guy going, how does he make that, dude? I got to get his job because anyway. But what I found out was that if your job did not require you to have a college degree.
Yeah.
And if your job did not require you to have a certification, and if your job wasn't in service like police, military, you didn't choose your profession. You fell into it.
Huh. Yeah.
Like it was like, yeah, my brother told me to get this job. And then my friend, I met a guy there, then he got me here. And then here I am, the CFO of this company. So I got an accounting
But it was
degree.
just because they fell into it.
Because they kind of fell, I'm going to say they kind of like connected. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I realized like, I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to be a lawyer. I don't want to do this. I don't want to go in the military. I don't want to be a police officer. I don't want to do this. All of those things I don't want to do. So I came to the conclusion, I'm going to fall into my job. I'm going to lead it. So I thought I'm going to stay here because I got to tell you, like I asked like 2,000 people this question and I just kept keeping track how they found their job. I would ask them, are you happy? And most people who chose their profession, like through education, they were relatively happy because they've known it for a long time and they knew the course and they knew what it was. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So like they chose that sacrifice, that pain. So then I just kind of realized I'm going to be like, this is what I'm going to do until I meet somebody. And I thought, this is a great job. I'm meeting hundreds of people a month.
Yeah.
I'm going to meet somebody who's going to like save me and take me away from this place kind of a thing, you know? And so as I was doing that, I realized then that I kind of looked at everything that I wanted to do, past careers that I thought I wanted. And I realized that there was a theme between every career that I actually wanted in the beginning.
What was the theme?
The theme was helping people to better their lives. I wanted to be a psychologist, like a therapist. And I realized they only made 50, 60 grand a year at the time. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Then I thought maybe I want to be a psychiatrist. And I thought, dude, I'm not going through that much school. It's like, you're a doctor, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I'm not going to do that. Then I thought, well, I could be, I want to get a degree in accounting, which I have a degree in accounting. I thought I want to advise people and help them to build wealth. That's what I'm going to like. I want to help them.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not how I really want to help.
Yeah.
Then I thought I want to be a nurse. And then I took physiology and got an F, and I'm like, I'm never gonna be a nurse. So I continued.
Just be glad you didn't make it to OChem. Do people who are like being dentists get into organic chemistry and are like, this ain't for me?
I barely passed chemistry. I mean, I got a B, but I mean, I worked my butt off to get that B. I'm like, dude, I'm out of here.
Too hard.
So then I thought I'm gonna get a degree in accounting because then I'm gonna help people financially, right? With this. So I got this degree in accounting anyway, which got me a job at Fidelity to help people financially invest and all this stuff. And anyway, but put me back here. So I just realized I love helping people.
Yeah.
And how I'm helping them in this right now, I want to help more than what I'm doing than signing them. So then I just thought
How can you make money and help people at the same time?
Yeah. So I want to help people more than just getting a house. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So I thought, I was pretty educated. Like I read a lot of books and did a lot of things. And I thought, so I'm going to ask people what their problems are while I'm at closing. Like what's hard for you right now? Like just in conversation, like what's the hardest thing about life right now for you? And then they would ask, so I would ask that question. They would come up with stuff. And I thought, I'm going to study these topics. So when I ask that question again and someone brings that up, like I'm going to be able to answer that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm reading all these books. I did this with my clients too. I'd ask my agents and stuff, what's your hardest thing right in business right now? And they'd say, coaching my person on how to do something right. When they do it wrong, I'm like, I'm going to learn how to coach people on how to do something right when they're doing it wrong. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Because I thought if I can help my clients do that, they're going to love me.
Yeah.
And that's more than what I'm doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Kind of like a thing. Like, so anyway, so I just kept pursuing this and it grew my business. It grew my business because then I loved helping people. I would hire people that weren't necessarily doing well. Like, and I thought, I didn't know anything, got in this business and I'm crushing it. I'm like, I can teach people who don't know anything or need a better job and they don't know that they could make a lot of money at this job.
And so, at this time you're is it in Ogden, Utah?
No, I'm in Salt Lake. So so I got into this. So then I met my friend owned a title company, Atlas Title, and I asked him if I could open up a branch of his in Salt Lake. And he said, yes. So I left my employer to have ownership in a branch, right? Cool. And had my own, just 2 years into the business and I was doing that. And so then I was helping people and teaching them. And then I thought, I want to coach my people to better their lives at home. And so then I was learning things I could teach my employees that would make them a better.
What were some things you were teaching them?
Like teaching them like how to communicate with their spouses or with their kids. Like, this is how you say things to them. Like, they're going to see it like this. And when they say this, and if you respond this way, they're not going to.
Would you teach people in like a group setting or like one-on-one, just
friends?
One on
both. Kind of, one-on-one and both. But like, I would just look at like whatever their pain point was in their life. I would think, I'm going to learn how to coach that and manage that so their life is better. And what I found is over time with my employees that I would meet their spouse or their child. Or
You were really inquisitive with people.
Yeah. And so their spouse would say, hey, you taught my wife this and it helped us a ton. So thank you so much for teaching her this. And so I'd get these conversations with their spouses. And so even like, I remember I had their kids saying, hey, my mom told us about how you taught her how to have a difficult conversation. And that was so good for us because, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I love that. Does that make sense?
Let me just ask you real quick, because what year was this probably when you started your first
This is
branch?
I started that in 05 was my first branch. Okay. So I got into business 03, 05 was my first branch. I actually started doing this between like 07, 08, 09.
Okay, because I was going to say fast forward to probably when we met, which was maybe 2017 or 2018.
Yeah.
Would you say 2019?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
so a few years ago.
Yeah.
Let's jump forward. One of the another interesting thing is I think your passion shows, and as you're asking those questions, I can tell you were being passionate about that. So one observation that I've had about you is that you are a deeply passionate person.
Yeah.
And that you care. And I think that for anybody who's running a business out there listening to you speak about taking notes and thinking, okay, next time how can I be more involved in their life or answer these questions? I mean, these are little gold nuggets that I hope people are taking. These are great.
So it really made sense to me. Like when I was in the 7th grade, we took that class, See You at the Top by Zig Ziglar. Like our class, you had to take that as like a 12-week course or something like that. But he said, if you help enough people get what they want, you will eventually get what you want.
Sure.
And so I just looked at this like, how can I help people get what they want if I don't know what they want, or if I don't know what their pain points are in their life? And what everybody wants is to get rid of their pain, right? Or to make it, or to ameliorate it or something, right?
For sure. So it's like the book I recommended to you, the DNAS, because when you understand people's pain, they're willing to do almost anything to get it, not have that pain anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. So that was my thing. So I was like, I want to help people get out of, because we were super poor.
But sometimes people want to admit their pain.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
So by asking questions, you get deeper and deeper.
Or I was going to say, sometimes people won't admit they don't know. They don't know what's causing this pain, or they just have they don't know the causality. They just have the symptoms.
Yeah, true. Mm-hmm. And that was another just phase in my life is understanding. I did a deep dive of Brene Brown with the vulnerability, and I realized like when I do that, people will tell me their pain when I tell them my pain.
Sure.
They're like, then I give them permission to
be vulnerable.
Does that make sense?
And authentic. Yeah.
So that was just another phase of like, dude, this is another level of getting to know what their pain is. Mm-hmm. But that was what led me to that. And then that's what really grew my business, is that in the title business is because I didn't have a plan per se. I didn't have this, like I was just helping people and then it just attracting the right people. Makes sense?
Yeah.
So that led me to when I met with you.
Is Louis the one that you learned breathwork from?
Yeah, originally, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So somebody had told me, another acquaintance in the real estate world said, hey, there's this guy, Zach, who can help you like learn breathwork. And I have yet to meet Zach.
Yeah.
Okay. I have been in close proximity a few times, but never met him.
You smelled this cologne one time. Like it was like,
I've never done it. So, but I feel like I've gotten the next best thing, which is one of his mentees, which is Louis. I mean, he was your mentor, right?
Yeah. 100%.
And so, I mean, let's maybe talk about that. Because when I met you was through a breathwork session. They said, hey, have you ever done breathwork? I said, I don't even know what that is. At the time I had talked to a few people about it. They said, hey, you should maybe microdose. Because I was kind of searching for something personally. I was like, I need to make a change in my life. I'm not really fulfilled. I'm not really happy on a deep level.
Yeah, but your wife was one really saying,
Zach, what's a 5-second version of what microdosing is?
Okay. Oh, sorry. So to microdose psilocybin, they said maybe you can do some rewiring with low doses of psilocybin with a psychedelic that can maybe help rewire some things. And then somebody in that same conversation or course of conversation said, well, no, what you need to do is go do peyote. And go do a sweat lodge, or maybe you need to go to South America and do ayahuasca, or maybe you can find someone who does. And these are all pretty like hardcore things. I'm like,
they're high level stuff.
This is a lot. And so for me, I'm just trying to get on a deeper emotional and spiritual level and find some connection with God that I felt like I was missing in my life. Even with religion and with other things, I was missing some connection with spirit, with God. And so I was like, okay, I want to do these. And a business partner of mine said, hey, you don't need, once you drink that ayahuasca, it's down the hatch. Like you're in, like it's happening.
I think this is kind of interesting because the last 5 years, you guys met in 2019, and I'd say in the last 5 years, I've heard more on these terms than I have in the last 40 years.
Ever.
Yeah.
You know,
It's been kind of an
especially I know
awakening
you're going into,
Yeah.
you're going to talk about, breathing and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
you're the one that taught me what that was. And I've heard it more and more. And I actually saw a video of good friends of ours that did it as a couple. I don't want to say it's their first time, but they videoed it on Instagram. It's just getting more and more popular, you know?
Yeah.
But you keep going. Sorry.
No, that's great. I mean, this is all good stuff because I was searching for that. And as I was having those conversations, he said, hey, you don't necessarily need to like go do any sort of like drug or take any sort of medicine or plant medicine or anything like that. Like you can just do it through breathing. And I was like, hey, what? And so we just got into that. So anyway, that evolved into a breath session that we did that for me was really transformative because I was able to really find connection, not only with the people that were there, but when I was in that space of breathing. And now I've done it a lot of times.
You've done group sessions, and you even showed me for the audience listening. I mean, Tony Robbins, does breathing.
Even his little 15. I love his little 15-minute priming.
Yeah,
it just helps you
taught me
connect
that.
and center and get grounded and
So
really,
good.
really just separate yourself from the world for a minute
Yeah.
and just have that connection, that deep connection with spirit or with God. And you helped me find that through breath, which is great. And so, I mean, tell everybody listening how you found breath work and how that has affected ultimately who you are today. Because I know it's a huge part of what you do now.
Yeah. So I found it through a recommendation of Spring Benson, who I was talking to her one day and she said, hey, this guy from Sedona comes to Salt Lake a couple times a year. He's going to be here tomorrow. You should go check it out. It's 2 hours. And I'm like, what's breath? You breathe for 2 hours? Like, what is happening? She's like, it was the most spiritual experience I've had in my life. You should just go, check it out. So I went and it was everything that she said it was. I had this incredible.
Was this guy, Zach?
Yeah, this was the Zach Reeder. Yeah.
So he's out of Sedona?
Out of Sedona. Yeah. And I just had this incredible, I got in the car with my wife and I just started crying, hardcore crying, saying and she's
Was she with you?
Yeah, she was with me. And she's like, that wasn't necessarily her experience, right?
Yeah.
But for me, I was just sobbing and I couldn't even drive. I'm like, I can't even drive right now. It was so.
So it was a 2 hour
overwhelming.
experience for you.
Yeah. So
Wow.
it's 2 hours. Well, he spends, 25 minutes explaining it, talking about it, answering questions. You're 60 minutes into the practice. So there's an hour and a half.
How long ago is this?
19.
Okay.
Very beginning of 19.
Okay.
So we're
very
just
close to when you guys met.
Yeah. So that, transformative for me. Transformative, it was just an awakening, unlike anything. And I considered myself a pretty spiritual person, even up to that point, spiritual and or religious and, however you want to term it, all of it. And so that's what really led me to take a deeper dive into it because I thought, I feel like
It was good for you.
Yeah. And I'm like, and it was way good. And what it helped me to address was a lot of my pain. So I thought, this is what I try to do is help people in their pain.
Yeah.
This has helped me in my pain in one session, like crazy.
What a better opportunity to spread the word to others.
Yeah.
with
So
their pain.
it made me like a big proponent. Like I'm going to be shouting from the rooftops because this is what I've been doing for the last 20 years.
When you're passionate about something,
We're passionate about it. And then this was like a fast track to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I mean, wouldn't you agree?
Without the vomiting or the sweat lodge or the
And
stuff.
it's not even, I don't even have to coach you on it. I don't even have to tell you things. I don't have to teach you anything. It's just you connect with you and you figure it out.
Yeah.
Right. Is that what you?
Yeah, I think 100%. And even, I mean, for me personally, it's been an experience where, to the extent, I think I can't kind of keep dancing around. Like once you have taken something and you're going on a journey, there's not coming out of it. But when you're breathing, you can just kind of stop breathing so hard. You can stop pulling your breath and you can come out of it, or you can go deeper. Like it's really kind of personal and it's every time it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And I've had such a different experience each time I've done any sort of large breathwork session.
Yeah.
And so it's an amazing journey for me that I feel like has been great. So I'm like I said, I'm happy to have had the experiences that you taught me. So it's great.
Yeah.
I got two quick questions for both of you guys. How often do you do it now? And then how can someone learn? Where is a good place to quickly learn like an introduction to breathing?
If I were to say the last 5 years, I do it like twice a week.
Wow.
So, and it's not 2 hours. When you're doing it individually, it's not like there's a half hour in front and on the back. Does that make sense? So it's like 45, 55 minutes, something like that. I do it 2 times a week. In the beginning, I was doing it 3 times a week for the first year because it was so helpful. So it's not like overdosing on ibuprofen or something like that. Trying to get away. This was so helpful. I was doing it 3 times a week. It was like, I was doing it really because it was just that helpful for me.
I mean,
just
so
recenter.
Josh is someone that now I'll talk to him like even like this morning or some mornings at 5:30 we'll text or 6 o'clock or whatever. And he goes, okay, I'm just hopping in the sauna because I just took an ice bath.
Yeah.
And, they go hand in hand, and with that routine,
Yeah.
You have found, and Taryn was even telling us the other day, Taryn's Josh's wife, that she's like, oh yeah, I've even been doing cold baths now and cold plunge and have found that I have like way more energy or less cravings for like caffeine or, things like that, because it's just helping. So I think you're finding that it's helping you on a very deep level, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Taryn and I, we do breathing and tapping together. And that was definitely interesting to me to learn each one of them. I mean, I learned breathing from you and then tapping, I can't remember, from somebody about a couple of years ago. And I'm always like willing to, especially when you like it's a more of a natural thing, you're tapping or you're breathing, like your body can already have something like that. I'm willing to always try something like that. And when I breathed the first time, you have me do the Tony Robbins one. It's definitely, you feel awkward. It was in a group setting and you're kind of like peeking a little bit, like everyone, you're doing certain things. So it's definitely awkward. So where can someone learn about it? Like to maybe try it at home by themselves to see if it's something that's they like even more.
I was going to say, you can obviously find a lot of resources online now and you can kind of find what you like. But one thing that Louis has you've kind of changed your life. Your life is now revolving around it to the point where you've got an office. Tell us about like Sozo House and how that came about. And
so a couple of things just as a business owner, because I grew a business from nothing to selling it to a Fortune 300 company and being able to retire at 49 thinking I don't have to work, but I still work for the title company I sold it to, but I don't have to.
Yeah.
And breathwork was really pivotal for that to have happened, honestly. Because as a business owner, you're stressed. As a real estate investor, you're stressed. I mean, you're talking high. You didn't put 10 grand into Bitcoin and then you're worried about 10 grand.
Yeah.
You put 20 grand down on a $500,000 investment that could drop and you could lose more than your 20 grand. Real estate is there's a lot more to lose than just the value. The amount they put in. Does that make sense? So it's stressful. My point is it's incredibly stressful. Mm-hmm. And what breathwork did for me was it took me out of that fight or flight mode. That's why I was doing it 3 times a week, because they put you back there at a drop of a hat. Right. Mm-hmm. And so what it kept doing for me was bringing me back to center and just going, oh my gosh, I don't have to this isn't as big as it is I think it is, although I'm pretty upset about what's happening. No, I can find an answer to this. And I was finding answers over the next few years, answers I'd never found prior to breathwork.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And people would say, how'd you come up with that? I'm like, I was doing breathwork in the morning,
That's cool.
And so I'd find these answers that were unconventional on how to approach things. Mm-hmm. And it very much pivoted my business and we grew, not just because of COVID, which was helpful, but we were growing exponentially in 19 in a way that we weren't the prior years.
Yeah, that's great. That's cool.
So I would just say there's all these different styles of breath work, but every style has a unique intention behind it. Yeah. And so find a breath work that is meaningful for you and that matches what you actually are intending to get out of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because you can do one breath work and its intention is not what you want. And you feel like, I don't like breath work.
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
You put the wrong thing with that.
Yeah, it's like, you're not doing Kundalini if you're trying to there's just different styles that mesh with what you're trying to do. And I've even had some experiences where, you disappear into a white space for what feels like 5 minutes and it's been an hour.
Yeah.
And then I've been in some pretty violent spaces that are full of, some deep, pain or hardship.
Yes.
It sounds very similar to like Taryn and I have the tapping solution app. And when she's feeling anxiety, she types in anxiety and it pulls up an anxiety type of tap versus why would you do a depression or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Correct. That's exactly right.
Similar.
Yeah. Very similar to that.
Different solutions. And so, there's different breath and different music and different things you can do to provoke different emotion.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. So every breathwork style, every emotional state that we have has a specific breathing pattern.
That's cool.
So you match. So that's why the breathwork style has to match where you're trying to get to, whether it's grateful or empowered or calm or does that make sense?
Yeah. One thing that we talked about a little bit ago before we actually hopped on was finding our superpowers. And in the podcast, if you've listened to these before, we talk about people's business superpowers. And one thing that I thought was really interesting was talking about superpowers versus purpose. And I don't know if we can kind of, quickly kind of recap what we talked about, because I think there were some gems in there as you were talking about finding your purpose versus your superpowers.
Yeah. Simon Sinek says your why is, there's a why, then you have a how, and you have a what. And your why is what drives the action. Like you're doing this to achieve a certain outcome. And your superpower isn't necessarily why you do it.
Sure.
So I look at it as like my superpower is connecting with people and understanding their pain and understanding their life situation. That's my superpower.
Right.
But my why is to, what I would drive towards is helping them to find meaning to their pain, to find meaning to where they're going, and for them to find their life purpose. But my superpower isn't necessarily my life purpose.
Sure.
That makes sense.
It facilitates the life purpose, but it's not
amazing.
the life purpose.
I mean, there's so many things in here. I feel like we could go on
Yeah,
and
sorry.
on and on.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
good.
yeah,
There's so much good stuff.
Yeah.
So one thing I would like to do is I've kind of alluded to this, and hopefully that's okay, that Louis has a cabin that they've kind of dedicated toward holding regular breath sessions. And so if anybody listening, if you're in the Salt Lake, can I definitely invite people to the cabin?
Yeah. So I hold it at my cabin, and then I have a studio in my house at Bluffdale. So I have it. So I hold it both during the summer. I hold it up at Big Cottonwood Canyon because it's a beautiful location. And then when you don't want to weather the storm, then I hold it. I have a separate building or studio outside behind my house, and I hold it there. So so contact me on.
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll put your
media.
contact info in the notes here, so that way they know how to contact you. Website if you have one, and
I love
that's
it.
awesome.
So just kind of in wrapping up to one thing that we always ask our guests is if there is one book that was pivotal. You already mentioned a couple today, but one book that you would recommend that people who are interested in breathwork or interested in spirituality, something that hit you really hard. What would you recommend a book they read is?
It seems like the opposite of that, but that book by Darren Hardy, The Compound Effect, that made me.
It's a great book.
That book helped me to realize that the action I take today is going to have payoff dividends down the road. And it made me stop procrastinating the things I was procrastinating. That's like moved me to action.
Okay.
That book was, that's where my life began to change, was that book.
I would recommend that book too. That's a great book.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, well, thank you, Louis. We appreciate you coming, dropping some knowledge, and I'm sure
Thanks,
this won't be the last we interact here. So, perfect. There you go.
Well, until next time, invest in your future.
Invest in your life.
This is the Flat Bill Investors Podcast signing off.